and regulations, because that's the central question. How we achieve it is secondary, but for heaven's sake, don't start removing options before you've even started that exercise.
So Richard in Newcastle says, if access to the single market is only available with freedom of movement, would you then still allow freedom of movement from the EU into the UK to keep single market access?
What we've said about freedom of movement is it's got to go. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean no movement, because businesses would go bust pretty quickly if we had no movement. So we've got to negotiate and agree a position that gets us the benefits of tariff-free access, reduces customs impediment, but at the same time accepts that freedom of movement's got to change. Now, is that going to be difficult? Of course it's going to be difficult. And anybody who suggests there's just an easy answer to this isn't being honest about the negotiations ahead. But I think it's important to have clarity about what we're trying to achieve, and the approach that we're going to take and the tone we're going to approach. And in the end, I don't think it much matters as to whether you view this as reformed single market membership and membership of the customs union, or whether you start from scratch and have an EU-UK arrangement. What matters to business, and what they're telling me is, just make sure that what matters to us is delivered somehow at the end of the exercise.
Aren't you talking about cherry picking, and exactly the thing that has been ruled out from the beginning within Europe, an option for the UK to effectively be in a better position out of the EU than it was in the EU, by getting all the benefits and none of the downside, the freedom of movement?
We've got to start the negotiation with clarity about what we want to achieve. I accept that the EU will say in response, well, you can't have everything you achieve. That's the nature of a negotiation. What I'm saying is clarity about what we want to achieve, keep the options on the table, and then the commitment that if we don't get everything we achieve in the negotiations, and they will be tough, the next question is, what would the Labour government do back here in the UK to make up for the fact that we haven't got all the benefits of the single market that we want in the negotiation, so that overall the benefits are preserved? That's a perfectly sensible approach, and it's one that businesses are crying out for us to take.